County. He had a full-time job, no matter what. He was my daughter's godfather, and he just, no matter what he did, he shouldn't have got what he did. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
The Arleen Salcedo's family would just like to thank John Madison, the prosecutors, attorneys, all the detectives that did all the work on this case to bring some sort of closure to the family. We want you to know that Arleen is still with us and dearly missed and loved.
Thank you very much.
Judge Pickard, I ask you to sentence Anthony Walker to the maximum sentence allowed by the law of the state of Michigan for the safety of all. And I want to share with the court today what 2 days out of our life are like each year. It started 32 years ago. The dates are September 23rd, the day my sister Theresa was born, and January 15th, the day my sister Theresa was murdered. Both of these days, I would know that I needed to make a phone call. It was always a priority, although it was never an easy task to do. It was to my mother. And I would just say, "Are you okay? And is Dad okay?" And she would do her best to tell me yes. And some years, those were harder words than other years. She would also ask me, "Am I okay?" And I would do my best to say, "Yes, I'm okay, Mom." We never talked about other things during that phone call. We shared we loved each other, and we hung up. After every call, every year, my heart ached for what I couldn't do for my parents and the loss that they felt. My sisters and my brother would do the same thing through calls and visits every year. Please know that the man that created this sadness in our family needs to be held accountable for that and what he did and how he did it and how he affected the lives of my family. Judge, I have one final comment that I would like to make to Anthony Walker and to his lawyer, Mr. Jameson. There is no one that needs to hear your story. No one. There's no decent human being that would want to hear your story. You need to share it with God, but you need to know you need to tell the whole truth, because on that you will be judged. Thank you for your time, Judge.
Thank you.
My sister Theresa, her friend Yolanda, and baby Jessica may now rest in peace, knowing that this man will be held responsible for his crimes against them. Year after year, either watching or listening on the phone to my mom Alice cry every January, knowing that this person had not paid for what he did to these girls. I hope my mom and family and Yolanda's family will now have some peace, and that he will finally pay for what he did. And finally, you are a monster and a liar. And I hope that you will suffer as much as we have, knowing what you did to these 3 innocent girls, Theresa, Yolanda, and baby Jessica. And I pray that you will never be able to hurt anyone ever again.
I waited, my family waited a long time for this day to look you in the eyes, but now that day is here. All I feel is sorry for you. You have never felt the love Theresa knew for 19 years, 3 months, and 15 days. Even now, Theresa is loved. Just look around the courtroom and see her family and her friends that came to see her get her justice. You may have taken her away physically from us, but she still is with us because there are many nieces and nephews that has her personal traits. Her sense of humor, her wit, the way she cared about people, her self-confidence, that shows how she would stand up for herself. That made her a little mouthy at times. Even her sense of devilishness and mischievousness. It is not my place to sentence or punish you. It is the judge's place to sentence you, and I hope he gives you life in prison without parole, so no one else will feel this pain, and God will take care of the punishment. And that will be either while you're in prison on earth or while you're in heaven or hell eternally. I would like to take...
My mom waited a long time to see this day come. She passed away about 6 years ago. She knew this day was coming, but was hoping to be here for the outcome. She is in a better place than having to see what kind of person took her daughter away from her that cold January night. I would like to thank all of the police, the detectives, and anyone else who had their hand in finding you. And I would like to thank John Madison because he thought of the other families in the other cases that we have been informed of. I know Mom, Theresa, Yolanda, and Jessica are watching and know that justice has been given to them and many other families today. May God forgive you.
Theresa was a normal 19-year-old who had a whole life ahead of her. She had dreams and goals and ambitions. She was a beautiful girl with a very fun side to her. She had potential but was never given the time to show it. Our family lost out on a lot of fun times that we would have had with her. Our family missed out on seeing her grow up. She did not deserve to die the way she did. Our memories of her life will never go away. Theresa does live on in our hearts and the stories that we tell our children. She will never be forgotten by anyone that she touched. My mother can now rest in peace knowing that the killer of her child has been found and convicted. The pain of burying a child was more than she could handle at times. The unanswered questions on why this happened tore at her heart. The pain and suffering that you, Anthony Walker, caused my mother for 25 years, I now wish on you. My mother knew you did it. She had the confidence in Chief Terry Collins and his staff to find enough evidence to convict you. And they did. You are nothing more than a punk. You are not a powerful guy. You never were powerful. You killed innocent women, children. You attacked under the cover of darkness. You never met anyone face to face. You're weak. You are a sick animal that deserves to die a cruel death. I wish Michigan had the death penalty. Unluckily for you, we don't. Now you must suffer every day of your life in that little cell, wondering who wants to kill you, who's going to hurt you, who knows that you did kill a baby and women. I hope you suffer every day. I hope the prison system is cruel to you. I hope other prisoners take advantage of you, and I hope the animals in your head eat you alive. Finally, I wish eternal pain on you, and may God never, unlike other people, may God never forgive you for this. May you rot in your heart, may you rot in your cell, may you rot in prison, and I pray to God that you rot in hell.
She was petite, feisty, and opinionated. She looked a lot like her dad on the Irish side, but she had the sassy blood of an Aussie running through her. Her favorite color was yellow. She liked butterflies and seashells. Her choice of artists were Earth, Wind and Fire, Commodores, Stevie Wonder, and Rod Stewart. Our friend had to be home at a certain time, so on our way taking her home, we had to drive by Yolanda's house. As we drove by, something caught Teresa's curiosity and seemed to have concerned her. After we dropped our friend off, Teresa asked me if I would go back to Yolanda's house with her. I agreed. I knew she just wanted to check on her friend. That's what friends do. They take care of each other. We pulled in the driveway. Teresa turned her car off and opened the car door to get out. I just froze. I can't explain it to you. Today, I've never been able to explain the feeling. I really have never had to try to do it. Something just said, "Don't go in that house." I'm regretful that whatever it was wasn't speaking to both of us. I asked her, "T, how long do you think we'll stay?" She said, "I don't know, half hour or so." I told her she had better take me home. I had a test tomorrow, and I needed to study for it. She shut her door and drove me home just 3 blocks away. The snow was falling pretty hard at that point. We were sitting in her car in my driveway with the headlights on, allowing us to see the big snowflakes coming down. She commented on how big and soft they looked. A streetlight was shining in her face just perfectly, and she looked so pretty with the big snowflakes falling in the window behind her. I'm so fortunate that this is the vision that I have. I told her the roads were getting bad and wondered if she would just agree to calling Yolanda instead of going back to her house. She shrugged her shoulders and said, "I don't know, maybe." I asked when I would see her next, and she told me she would come to my volleyball game the next day. She said, "Be careful." And she swooped one side of her scarf over her shoulder, the scarf that I bought her for Christmas a few weeks before. She smiled with the street lights still shining in her face so perfectly, and she told me she loved me. I knew with the direction she pulled out of my driveway that she wasn't going home. She was going back to check up on her friend, because that's what friends do. They take care of each other. A few minutes later, Anthony Walker killed her. I have lived for 30 years with wondering what if. They call it survivor's guilt. What if I would have been more persistent that she'd just go home? What if that voice didn't talk to me and I got out of the car and went back into Yolanda's house with her? And what if I could have seen what was happening and ran out the door, across the street to the sheriff's department 100 feet away? What if I could have gotten my friend help? I didn't get to help my friend that night, and that's what friends do. They take care of each other.
Hi, Tony. How you doing? It's been a long time. Went to school together, remember? Maybe you shouldn't have did that, Tony. But, you know, I guess God will take care of you one way or the other. 'Cause I can't. Remember that night I went to your house? You stood behind the door, and I had a gun in my hand. I was going to blow your head off. And you told me you didn't have nothing to do with that, did you? Remember that? It ain't over with yet. Thank you very much, everybody.
Your Honor, I am Frank Torres. I had to take my family out of here in 1979. The day that my sister was brutally murdered and Theresa was brutally murdered, I was there. And I seen Theresa. I was the last person to see Theresa alive. I knocked on the door. I knew something was wrong because my Yolanda was like 4'3", weighed 85 pounds. She parked the car in the garage. She could never shut the garage door. I knocked on the back door. I knew something was wrong. Then I went around the front door. All the curtains were closed. I banged on the front door. Then I came back out and banged on the back door. I knew something was wrong. I couldn't put my pinpoint it or anything. I want to apologize to the Carey family because that son of a bitch was in there and he didn't open the door. If I would have kicked that door in, he wouldn't be sitting in that chair right now. As I was leaving, Theresa came in her car. And she asked me these words, her exact words. Hey, popcorn. Frank, is popcorn in? I don't know. Are cars here? I don't see anybody. There's some, I don't know, just something doesn't feel right. If Your Honor, I want to turn around and look. Right here. You see that? That was the day before you killed her. Do you hear me? You see what you took away? Huh? You see what you took away? They never had closure. None of them. And none of these family either. There's no bulletproof vest in the world. There's no life sentence in the world that's going to protect you. Because you're not going to die old. I promise you that. I'm sorry for the Carey family. I'm sorry for all the victims here.
Sorry for the town pavement too, but
Change these laws.
coming in.
Vile. That's what you are. You're vile. Plague. But our Father who art in heaven, my will be done.